that was a nervy final few 4 minutes of the game, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But Arsenal have won yet again. It is now 3 wins, 3 consecutive Premier League wins, which has given Arsenal yet another win away from home as Arsenal beat Newcastle United by 2 goals to 1. A very, very strong result. Not particularly exciting, for one, and there are still problems. It wasn't a perfect performance, but it does show character. And Unai Emery's Arsenal side are, on a decent, run of form. Three games, 3 wins, and we're starting to, make some good signs of progress. It's starting to fall into place slightly. There are still problems. I'm still frustrated with a few of Arsenal's kind of, decision making and moments of play. But all in all, another good win, 3 more points on the board, and we are back to winning ways after the international break. Welcome back to the return, ladies and gentlemen, of analysing Arsenal. These are my thoughts and feelings to the game at St James Park as Newcastle lost to Arsenal by 2 goals to 1. And, it's one of those games where, right after the international break, everyone's not really at full throttle. When you come back after the international break, you still have to have, and it takes time, and that's the main thing. It takes time to kind of get back into full gears because, you've had international games and you've been, with different countries, with different players, you've been travelling, the length and width of the world, and just to come back, and that first Premier League game after an international break is always kind of quite a tricky game and it can be quite tough. But Arsenal have got over the line. Like I said, not a perfect performance, but, we did dominate. I mean, we had 65% possession. Newcastle only had 4 shots, 2 on target. We had 12 shots, 2 on target. We didn't really cause Newcastle's keeper, which I'm not even going to attempt to. We're going to call him M. We didn't really cause M any kind of problem. I mean, if I could, try it. Yeah, M. We're stick with M, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't really cause M too many problems, and even though we had 12 shots, to only have 2 on target is poor from an Arsenal perspective. We have such a high calibre of attacking players. We should be really registering way more shots, way more shots on target to only have 2. But the 2 shots that we registered on target were 2 that we actually scored. So we have got 100% record in converting the shots that we registered on target into acquired goals, really. And like I said, not a perfect performance. It was a very, very kind of slow and timid first 45 minutes. I still don't understand why Lucas Torreira is not starting. I'm looking at the lineups now and how Leno and Lucas Torreira, they're the only 2 changes I would make. Having said that, Granit Xhaka did have a very, very good game, obviously getting the first goal just after the second half commenced. He got the first goal to open up proceedings, but those are the 2 changes that I would have definitely made by now. I would have had Leno start in the game, and I would have Lucas Torreira in there for Xhaka, because I think Torreira and Guendouzi are going to be absolutely brilliant, and they can form a really, really good partnership. I do like that now Lacazette and Aubameyang seem to have registered themselves both as a starting kind of place. We saw how devastating they could be before the international break against Cardiff. They had a quiet game. Aubameyang was substituted off late in the second half, but some of their link-up play today was really, really good, and they did create a couple of chances here or there, and they really did do well in moments. Didn't really get a goal, but sometimes as a forward line, you don't necessarily have to score to have a good game, and both of them had fairly decent games. I thought Aaron Ramsey as well was interesting in him coming back into the side. I think he did okay. I think he did an okay. He was good. Mesut Ozil was more playing out on the right hand side, and Ramsey was like in that number 10 role. And sometimes Ramsey would go out to the right, Ozil would go back into the centre. But I also think Mesut Ozil had a very, very good game. Obviously getting the second goal, but he really looked up for it today because he wasn't involved in international football. He's had time to kind of really think about where does he want to go? What does he want to do at this club? What does he want to achieve? And how important does he want to be for Arsenal this season? Does he want to be one of the main players? Or does he want to be, a player that's kind of thrown into the shadows, tainted by, all manners of controversy and problems? Or does he want to be that player that actually makes a statement and is one of the focal point? And, like your Hazards of Chelsea, your Agueros of Manchester City, your Salahs of Liverpool, even your Paul Pogba's of Manchester United, Harry Kane of Spurs. Every single top team has one, key seller star player, and Ozil is not that player for Arsenal yet. but he could be. You know, he has the potential to do that, and I think this is an incredibly huge season, probably Mesut Ozil's biggest season under a new manager. We've already seen that, you know, if he doesn't pull his weight, if he doesn't, you know, perform to the best of his ability, Unai Emery will take him off. And there's no two ways about it. He will be taken off straight away. You know, both the goals that Arsenal scored were decent. It was, you know, particularly nervy in the last 4 minutes when Newcastle did get one back courtesy of Clark. But again, I mean, I feel really sorry for Newcastle because they have been absolutely butchered in the fixture list. You know, they've had Manchester City, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal. You know, in 4 of their 5 opening league games, they've had 4 of last season's top 6. You can't get much more difficult than that. I mean, for Arsenal, we had a particularly difficult start with Manchester City and then Chelsea, but then we've had, you know, Cardiff City, we've had West Ham, and now Newcastle, which has got us, you know, 9 points on the board and has kind of, you know, started to get our season into motion. But as for Newcastle, it is unfortunate. It really, really is unfortunate. You know, I look at that and I'm just thinking, you know, that is tough. They're sitting in 18th, you know, no winning 5, 1 draw, 4 defeats, and, you know, Newcastle could be a really promising side. They've got a wonderful manager under Rafa Benitez. I don't particularly agree with some of the ways that he plays football, but what I do agree with is that he does know how to get results. And, you know, if they just invested a little bit of money into the core of their team, they could be an absolute force, Newcastle. You know, you don't really expect them to beat most of the big boys, and, you know, no one's surprised that they are, you know, they've got 1 point, you know, out of 15. You know, no one really is surprised by that. But what I would say is that, you know, they need to keep Rafa Benitez there for as long as possible because he's the type of manager that will get the best out of this Newcastle side. And, you know, we're only 5 games into the season. We don't need to panic at this stage. As for Arsenal, sitting in 6th place, we are 6 points behind Liverpool, who are top of the table, as well as Chelsea, who are, you know, top of the table as well. Man City up there, but, you know, we're closing in, we're getting points on the board. Like I said, we've got quite a nice run of fixtures in September. We've obviously got our Europa League campaign starting in midweek. We've also got Carabao Cup fixtures coming up as well, so the fixtures are going to be coming thick and fast for Unai Emery. But I think he's starting to settle into the job. I think the players are starting to settle into the job. I will be doing in the next international break a really detailed kind of review and preview of Unai Emery's Arsenal season so far. But as for today, a very, very good performance, and I will be rejoining you guys on Thursday. I believe our Europa League game is next. Yes, it is. We kick off our Europa League campaign on Thursday before hosting Everton next Sunday. So until then, if you've really enjoyed this video, then please show your appreciation by smashing a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and check out my great content as well. And until next time, this is Bagpuss signing out. Take care, and I will rejoin you guys on Thursday. Until then, take care, and I will speak to you all very, very, very soon. See you Thursday. Bye-bye.